The death toll for the Ebola virus has reached nearly 700 since the disease broke out in February this year. This is the worst Ebola outbreak in history since it was first discovered in 1976 in Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo. Affected countries now include Nigeria, Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. Dr. Justice Dufu-Yangson is Assistant General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. He throws some light on the Ebola virus.
It's one of the types of viruses we have. Viruses generally are disease-causing agents. If you compare them to the commonly known bacteria, they tend to be very difficult to handle, and Ebola is one of them. The first virus in that Ebola category was found in Africa. Over the years, it's done some havoc, except that this time around it looks to be spreading at a fast rate. As we speak, there is no known cure. Yes, some work has been done at the laboratory level and trying to test them in animals and all that. But as we speak, we don't have a cure for the Ebola virus.
Surrounded by many of the affected countries, Ghana is at risk due to the frequent cross-border interaction. Usually,
when you have direct contact with somebody who has the virus, but one thing that makes it almost a certainty is when you get direct contact with the fluids that are emanating out of the patient. Blood, the vomitus and all that, those ones contain a lot of the virus. But with Ebola, if you should get it today, generally between 2 and 21 days, you start seeing these symptoms. But for most people, a week after coming into contact with it, they start exhibiting the symptoms that, may point to the fact that it's Ebola. As we speak, diagnosing is not even that simple. It is not every lab that can do it. Yes, Ghana officially, only Noguchi does it now.
And what are the first visible symptoms of the disease?
The common symptoms we see when you have Ebola mimics the common symptoms you see for most diseases around us. Fever, as in you having a body temperature, headache, body weakness, joint pains, sore throat, cough. You see all these things in Ebola. Situations where as the disease goes along, the person will be bleeding, either from the skin, you will see red patches, or passing bloody stools or bloody vomitus. Those ones are telltale signs that this is a possible hemorrhagic fever. And then Ebola also becomes a possible candidate in terms of diagnosis.
What are the precautionary measures against the disease?
Some sort of reservoir has been identified in some animals, chimpanzees, monkeys, bats, like you mentioned. The most important thing is that, especially for our people who are hunters, when you go to the bush and you find some carcass of any animal that you don't know what killed the animal, please don't carry it home. Because if it's Ebola that led to the death of the animal, or the animal carries it and you bring it home, the cost of handling the meat and all that, all the people around stand the risk of being infected. In terms of our usual lifestyles, for us, we think that there is no need to panic. You should be able to associate with your friends, your family members. That, for us, there is no dispute about it. But where somebody seems to be showing signs and symptoms of the disease, that is where you need to be extra careful. When you are traveling into a community where clearly Ebola is present as we speak, you should also know that the risk is there. As we speak today in Ghana, there is no confirmed case. In a way, we are free, in a way. But we know that because of the human interaction between Ghana and other neighboring countries, it's possible that it could get to our shores. So if, for instance, a relative who probably may have traveled to one of these places comes back home and is beginning to show some of the signs, it will be imperative for you to limit the amount of contact, and then you quickly report to the health authorities so that the necessary action will be taken.
And what about the preparedness of the country?
As far as the Medical Association is concerned, we have issued a statement stating clearly that we don't think our level of preparedness is that good, and that as a country we need to improve on our level of preparedness. We should be able to make a case and prepare ourselves properly, such that if in the unfortunate situation where we have some cases in the country, we'll be able to identify them early.
Dr. Youngson's advice to the public.
People shouldn't put a spin on the issues. Communicate properly, let the people understand what the problem is all about. Don't go out there to create unnecessary panic. People who do business in the sub-region should be mindful of this problem, such that wherever they find themselves, they will take the necessary precautionary measures. We should be mindful of the kinds of people we deal with, especially when we are in countries that clearly we all know that they have been confirmed as places where Ebola exists. As a nation, we should start putting practical measures in place such that we can prevent the possible inflow of people with the problem into our country, which means we should strengthen our port health services. For the national response that we all talk about, we believe that we should get more committed and get our level of preparedness to a point where, if in the unlikely or the unfortunate situation where we have a case in Ghana, we can deal with it properly.